YouTube, we are on our way to Thompson Speedway in the Acura Integra Type S because today, well, 2 days, we are going to be tracking this car, and I'm really excited to bring you not only how this vehicle performs, but how it performs against other vehicles I've taken to this exact same track. At Thompson, I've tracked the Acura Integra Type S, a 996 911 C4S, and a Civic Type R, the FK8. So I'm going to benchmark those two vehicles against this one, and we're going to talk about how this Acura Integra Type S performs on track. We got 2 days of track time, got to watch a ton of drifting, and enjoy a really good car show with really good people. I will definitely be attending this event yearly, and I am looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's get right into how this Acura Integra performed with some on-track footage. Let's close the hood and talk about how I set up this Integra for this weekend. Now, this car is 100% stock, and because Thompson is relatively smooth, I kept it in Sport Plus. I also turned off the traction control by hitting the button, so it's just up once on the drive mode selector and tap the traction control button on the left of the steering wheel one time. Now, the first lap at Thompson in the advanced run group is under yellow flags, so you get a feel for the course, get a feel for your car, and get an understanding of how you're going to position it in the laps to come. I let the faster cars go around me because, boy, were there some fast ones. The Subi Mod WRX, this swapped E36, and a 400 plus horsepower Golf. Listen to it. Ooh, and giving that space gave me free air to run my fastest lap of the weekend. Sadly, my GoPro in-car wasn't working, but I was able to put together a 1:26.85, which was, again, my fastest lap all weekend. I want to take into account, though, how this Integra takes this corner specifically. This is a relatively fast-paced corner, and you can see that the body on the Integra remains relatively stable. The composure of this car under high G is nice, and it is limited by its tires. I can go a lot faster if I had some better rubber underneath this car. But with session number 1 in the books, let's take a look at some of the cool cars here at Staggered. Look at this freaking Celica, absolutely delicious engine, and this Camaro powered by a JZ Toyota engine that looks like it's factory. Oh man, I love it. But it's time for our fourth and final session, and wouldn't you know it, not only was this one of my slowest overall, but we're actually behind another Integra, one that is very well set up, and this owner was absolutely ripping all weekend. So both of us are going to be taking it pretty easy on this first lap, which gives a great opportunity to walk you guys through this track. This is turn 1. We are coming in at 130 miles an hour, taking in a little inside curbing, a lot of outside curbing so that we can straight line turn 2. We stayed tight to the right for turn 2, so we get a clean turn 3. This Integra is going to point us by, and that's just fine. We're both taking it easy on this first lap to just get our bearings set. Turn 3, we stay tight. We do not really wash out. We go uphill here, which helps us in the braking as we turn back 180 degrees. Now, after turn 1, we're keeping this car almost exclusively in third gear because even though we run out of RPM, it saves us time to just let off instead of shift, only to have to shift back down again. Underneath the bridge, you wash out so you can straight line that exit as best you can. I eat up a lot of that right curbing under full throttle conditions. I shoot for the third or fourth cone, brake, scrub off all speed in a straight line, turn off the banking, on the banking. This suspension does a great job at handling those changes very effectively. This is my favorite corner on the track. Blind left-hander, you brake like you're going right into that barrier. The camber change keeps the car in line. Stay tight here, wash out, shift into fourth, take this next corner at 60-65, and then you floor it and give it all the beans for this back straight. Now, as we enter what I hope is a hot lap, let's talk about how this Integra performed over the course of this weekend. Now, I've driven an FK8 on the track in this very similar scenario, and the FK8 would overheat unless it was under 70 degrees after 2 laps. But with the Integra, that was not the case. This 4th session here, it was 85 degrees and temperature was rock steady. But you see the bobble there, that's mistake number 1. These tires do get greasy very quickly. Now it's fine, this is my 4th session of the day. We go after drifters, so I understand conditions aren't gonna be perfect. I notice homie in the Integra behind me is positively ripping, so we let him by because I've chalked this lap because of that bulk that I had in that turn. But the temperatures being rock steady was something I was not prepared for, and pleasantly surprised and honestly really impressed that this car was able to do that over repeated sessions in 70 to 85 degree weather. Where the Integra let me down though is the brakes. This car would last 1 to 2 laps of full throttle craziness before the brakes would just sign a waiver and see themselves out for the session. You either had to run 1 cool down lap and 2 on laps, or 1 on lap even, and then have 2 to 3 cool down laps, or you just had to pull in and call it a session. The brakes would just get that hot. In fact, after the first session where I really was stress testing this car, I came in and my brakes were smoking. I had to just drive at a very slow pace to cool them off for the subsequent sessions, and I learned that, okay, we had to really push, take it easy, push, take it easy, push. Now, the good news here is that is easily remedied. While FK8 owners had to go through the gambit in order to have their temperatures come down to make brake temps come down, there's a couple fixes you can do and a couple things that make it easy. You change the pads, you can change the fluid. If you want, you can go that extra step and add more direct cooling. Look at the flame here. Pow! Love that. That 240 is freaking nuts. I love it. But that's the best news, right? While FK8 owners who are chasing down how to bring down the temps of their car after hard-earned crazy sessions, the Integra, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is solve the brake issue, which, by the way, FK8 owners have already solved. So you swap the pads, you swap the fluid, and this car could go no problem, okay? And that is beautiful. And I really think that with a different set of tires and a different set of pads, I would be about a second faster than my Civic Type R that had wider wheels and tires than stock and different pads. This car just felt more composed than my Civic, regardless of the fact that I didn't have as much aero as the FK8 has. This car felt just as composed, and it certainly was faster in a straight line than my FK8 was. So overall, I was actually really impressed with the 2024 Acura Integra Type S. It handled the heat remarkably well. The chassis was remarkably composed. The gearbox is a delight to use. The differential rips this car out of corners, and the brakes, while they faded very quickly, were nice when they were working. The bite was good. It broke this car down. It made this car brake, that's the right word, very efficiently, right? We were able to really chuck it in to that turn 1 at 130 miles an hour. We were going well into the 4 to 3 braking range, which some other cars that were a lot lighter than us couldn't do because of the braking power. So overall, really impressed with this machine. But let's end this video with some of the other cars that we saw on the weekend, because there was a lot of other really cool machines. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions on the Integra, let me know and I'll answer them. Sorry I couldn't get more footage. I'm gonna chalk this one up on GoPro. I'm gonna blame GoPro entirely for this. Now, again, shout out to Staggered. This weekend was tons of fun. I had endless track time, met tons of really cool people, and it was overall just a really fun experience. I'm Money Shift. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.